What's up, guys? How many times have you heard any phrase along the lines of California is just too expensive to live in? My name is Miles Gardner, and I'm here to tell you why the affordable housing crisis within California is a serious issue and it requires a lot of action. I've lived in California my entire life, along with my dad, all of his relatives, my mom, my little brother, and all of our relatives on that side as well. Let me get my visual aid here. This is a picture of me, my mom again, my little brother, all three of us. It's like a canvas print, so it's not like the greatest quality, but this is us in San Diego. We lived in San Diego our whole lives. And if there's one thing that we can all agree on, including my family, it's that living in California or living on your own in California can mean that you're living check to check, and that's no way to truly live your life. Living in California is extremely difficult due to the extreme lack of affordable housing, and this issue is so massive that it's driving residents out. So let's start off by talking about why we need to fix this massive issue. First and foremost, I believe that California's severe affordable housing shortage, it's created homelessness, high rents, and it forces residents into overcrowded housing and having tedious and long commutes that nobody wants to have. According to the Public Policy Institute of California, home values and rents in California are among the most expensive in the nation, and the state has one of the highest rates of homelessness. This contributes to a big affordability gap, where housing costs exceed what most people can really afford, Sorry, sick too. This extreme scarcity of affordable housing within the coastal areas of California, this forces the residents into overcrowded conditions or long commutes, like I said, contributing to the rising traffic and poor quality of life. And this is also exactly what drives the extremely high rate of homelessness that we have in California, especially San Diego. The Legislative Analyst's Office also mentions that the high cost of housing in California is the result of scarcity of housing in the state's coastal areas. Now, high housing costs harm Californians by making it difficult for them to make ends meet. Commute reasonable distances and access to good job opportunities are just hard to come by. The scarcity of housing in urban areas such as San Fran or Los Angeles or San Diego forces people into homes hours away from their commute, and this drastically increases commute times and stress. And nobody needs any more stress than we have right now. This really limits access to nearby essential jobs, as residents are priced out of a closer proximity to employment opportunities. So what can we do to address these issues and create a more sustainable future? Well, for starters, I believe that reforming some zoning laws, increasing funding for affordable housing, and incentivizing developers to create lower cost units could really help this crisis out. Potential zoning law reforms that encourage things like higher density and affordable housing near job centers can reduce long commutes and ease significant pressure on the housing market and ease significant pressure on ourselves, The California Department of Housing and Community Development states that the state needs to build an estimated 2.5 million housing units by 2030 to meet its housing goals. I believe that increasing funding for some affordable housing projects can ensure that both public and private sectors collaborate on some potential solutions to meet that goal. According to the San Francisco Bay Area Planning and Urban Research Association, it's a mouthful, you can also call it SPUR, they say that without significant changes in housing governance and funding structures, California's affordability crisis will only continue to worsen. I believe that we should increase funding for affordable housing projects so we can improve regulations and speed up construction as well. Also, expanding affordable housing programs could really alleviate homelessness by creating some long-term housing solutions for many vulnerable populations. Now together, let's envision what California could really look like with all of these changes. A California where families and essential workers can afford to live near their jobs, homelessness decreases, and poverty rates drop is a California I believe that we all would want to live in. But that is not our California today. But with that being said, and according to the Turner Center for Housing Innovation, California needs bold changes in housing policy to address disparities, promote equity, and ensure sustainability for future generations. Sustainable and affordable housing policy changes can provide numerous solutions while also addressing income disparities, as the state's affordability crisis is only worsened by high housing costs, and it forces families to spend half of their income or more than half of their income just to keep food on the table or clothes on their back. And the California Budget and Policy Center states that the state's affordability crisis is fueled by the fact that high housing costs often force families to spend more than half of their income, also just to maintain a roof over their heads. Addressing the home affordability crisis would make it so that families can spend money on essentials, health, education, or even put money into savings, which is something that a lot of us can't afford to do right now. Reducing these housing costs can also improve some life standards and increase long-term financial stability, which is something we all need as California residents. In conclusion, this crisis is not just about numbers, because it affects real people in real time, every day, all over California. The increase in rents, limited affordable housing, and long commutes have created a situation that just can no longer be ignored. By addressing some zoning laws, funding some affordable housing projects, promoting equity, I believe that we can begin to flip the crisis and create a California where everyone can afford a home in this very beautiful state, all over California. I urge for you to advocate for certain reforms that support affordable housing. I urge for you to educate others about this crisis, and I also urge for you to support policies that push for the necessary changes. If you get involved with some local housing advocacy groups, I believe that together we can make a truly lasting impact on California's future. So, thank you guys for listening to my speech.